What's going on, people? Welcome to Throwdown episode 50. I am your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I'm joined by Emilio Lopez.
V has come too.
Awesome. Chris Seeley.
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Brett Murdoch.
Pleasure as always.
And tonight, since it's episode 50, we are joined by two very special guests. First, we got my Otanime cohort, Mr. Michael Crawford, a.k.a. Rickson One, the only one.
What's good, people?
And, of course, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Torrence Davis, joining us from California.
Hello, everybody.
California, city of Compton, keep it rocking.
No, man, you got to sing the original one. No doubt about it.
No doubt about it.
All right, people. So here we are, 50 episodes of the new Throwdown, Volume 2. 1 year on the Coalition. Pretty fucking awesome. And we couldn't have done it without you. Yay! All that shit.
I was like, how the fuck is the Throwdown and Throwdown Your Questions on the same number? I could not figure it out for long. I was sitting there, I was going fucking nuts. And then I forgot that you reset the number when you came over to the Coalition.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, it would have been crazy, right? Yeah. By the way, we go to great lengths to keep those numbers the same. Like I remember, like skipping one or the other just because it would just fuck me up if it was different numbers and shit. So technically, you wouldn't have 100 episodes in a year. Pretty fucking nuts. It is what we do.
Really good.
And I think we ended at 90 off of STFU and Play.
Yeah, 91. So
91.
yeah, I actually did a calculation. I think it was.
Uh-oh.
And we're off to a great start, people.
Yeah, the Time Warner, gotta love it.
Episode 50, right there.
Yeah, it was Damien talking shit about how long can a fanboy podcast last for? I'm like, maybe 185 episodes. Motherfucker.
You still going on about a fanboy podcast?
Yeah, it's like, dude, you're on the fan zone, which is mega and super fanboy shit,
The meme in itself.
Exactly. But in addition to our guests here, we also have a giveaway tonight. Very special giveaway. We will be giving you Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain.
Yes.
Yes.
At the end of the show.
At the end of the show.
We got some questions for you guys,
Isn't it interesting? It is the 50th episode and the 5th Metal Gear.
Yes. VS comes too.
Yeah. Couldn't ask for anything better.
Exactly. All right, so go ahead, man.
Before?
You're cutting out, man. That California reception's like bad.
I'm on wireless.
Sorry. That's why.
I hope it works out.
All right, so go ahead and say that again.
I hope it works out, I said.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, so we've had Torrence on a bunch of times, obviously, but we've been doing like this new interview format. We're like, hey, episode 50, why don't we actually interview Torrence? Now, Torrence, have you ever seen us interview anyone before?
I've seen you post them, but I haven't watched them yet.
All right, so we're going to give you that same treatment, so this is going to be fun. And I don't need to tell you to expand, because this is you. You're going to obviously expound on every single little thing, so you're going to give us some good stuff. So let's get into it, man. Give us your origin story, the geek, video game, all that stuff, your origin story. Where did it all begin, man?
We're going all the way back?
All the way back.
Started out in the arcade at MIT. My dad took me to the arcade. And back then, the arcades had nothing but pinball machines. And I was, like, blown away. You go to a pinball machine, put in a quarter, you play, you go to another one. Pinball. It was fucking awesome. And they started slowly putting video games in the arcade, and they had Pong, and a couple other things. And as time went by, home consoles came out, and my grandfather had this system called the Fairchild System F, which predated the Atari 2600. But the games kind of looked the same. So whenever I went to my grandfather's house, I'd play like baseball, and the cowboy game, and the tank game. And then I got a 2600. My aunt bought me a 2600, and I went nuts. And then it just took off from there. My whole life was like video games. Some of my friends used to crack up at me because whenever we got together, like we didn't have shit to talk about. Nobody was getting laid because we were too young. School sucked. We weren't in high school yet, so nobody was like really playing sports. You either had rap music or fucking video games. I was always talking about video games. because I was always I was the cutting edge dude because I would buy all the video game mag. I'd buy EGM, Computer Games and Entertainment, Electronic Games, the original video game magazine. So I was reading all the magazines, all the info and stuff that was happening in Japan and arcade games. So I always had something to talk about. And he's just like, you always talk about video games, Sarge. You ain't got nothing else to talk about. I'm like, well, nothing else is really going on in our life at this point, you know.
Like
so,
we kids, man.
Yeah. I bought a ColecoVision, which like was the first next-gen system for me.
Oh, shit.
It just went on and on from there. I got a job at Toys R Us. So I knew all the games when they were coming in, when they were going out, you know, and then I moved to California after I graduated high school, and I had a Sega Genesis in here. I bought a Sega Genesis, which was the next-gen system because it was the closest thing to the arcade that was ever available for home. And me and my cousin, who were like crazy about video games since I was in California now, we started handwriting reviews of games we bought, and we'd mail them to each other. So he'd like
that's cool.
He'd buy stuff like because I was always in California over the summer, so he'd buy games because he had a system. Sometimes my cousin would get systems that I didn't have, and I had a system. Like I'd buy all the Sega stuff, he'd buy all the Nintendo stuff. So you write reviews about these games that you were playing because like I couldn't play them. So he'd send me this long handwritten review in ink, and my aunt was all high tech, so she had an IBM PC with WordStar 2000 on it. So I would handwrite my reviews and the stuff that I was seeing in California, because when you came out to California, you'd see a lot of shit that wasn't happening in Boston. So I write about all that stuff. We did that, and then I said we should do a magazine because my roommate wanted to post up money because he had all this money. He wanted to post up money for me to do a hip hop album. And I told him, I've actually never told anybody this. I told my roommate, I was like, we can spend this money and go put out a record and never get a deal, or you could take a small fraction of that money and help me publish a video game magazine. They got this thing coming up called E3, right? And all these game companies are going to be there, and we could bring all the magazines to E3 and get subscribers, and it'll be crazy. He's like, okay. Now me and my cousin, we were going to the Consumer Electronics Show. They had two of them. They had one in the summer and one in the winter, and the one in the summer was in Chicago. So we were already hip to going to these conventions and seeing all these badass video games months, sometimes years before they were released. So we got a couple of editors. One of my best friends, I met him at Software, Etc. because I was working on the magazine, and I walked into Software, Etc. and I was talking to the dude that was working there, and he told me he bought an Atari Jaguar. So he was telling me all about the Atari Jaguar. I was like, oh shit, this is dope. And then I left, and then I was like, wait a minute, I should ask this guy to write some Atari Jaguar reviews for my magazine. I called Software, Etc., and he wasn't there, and I left his manager a message to call me, so he called me. And he did all the Atari Jaguar reviews. And we ended up becoming real good friends. We were friends for years due to that little instance. So we did the magazine. You've heard the magazine story. Staying up till 4 a.m., doing layouts. I contacted companies, and I had them send me ads for free just so the magazine looked professional. They were sending me review copies of stuff. But they were like,
what was the quote for it? What was that all about?
what was what?
Why did you do quote unquote?
Because they were actually betas, and because it was on Nintendo, what you got was a ROM. It didn't even have the plastic casing. You just got what was inside the cartridge.
Oh shit!
You had it long enough to get your screenshots, write your preview, then you had to send it back. And even Sega, once we eventually got to E3, Sega hooked me up with the coveted Sega Saturn system disc.
Oh.
You know, anybody that's a Sega Saturn nut, everybody wants the system disc, because with the Sega Saturn system disc, you could play games that were on burned CDs.
Mm-hmm.
And that was how I was able to review all the Sega Saturn stuff. Like, my copy of Dragon Force was on a gold disc. I have about 8 or 10 games for my Sega Saturn that are on burned CDs that I was sent because I had that system disc. It was
Badass.
I could probably get thousands of dollars for that disc if I put it up on eBay. Otaku Man wants that disc.
It's like a swappable disc kind of a thing?
Yeah.
Where you put that disc and then you put the other thing in there? Nice.
Once it loads, you hit the eject button and you put the burn disc in there. I have in my possession a copy of Thrill Kill, which EA started working on and canceled. I have it on a gold disc that works on my. I don't even know. I can't even remember if that was. I think that was actually on PlayStation 1. But they ended up canceling the game. But I have a copy. I got a lot of shit. But anyway, so the first issue of Video Game Time was published, and we didn't get any subscriptions. And what we were doing, if you've been to E3, you know E3 has those huge magazine racks.
Yeah.
What we do is we go and we take all the magazines out of one of the bins, put them in a bag, and we put our magazines in replace. We had like 3,000 magazines. So we do that. People would walk by and they'd go get their magazines and they'd get a copy of Video Game Time. And we'd check back later when it was empty. We'd load some more back in. That's how we distributed our magazines at E3. We were just like totally guerrilla.
That's badass.
Like, let me just take this EGM off of this rack. Game
well, we didn't mess with EGM. We would pull like the stuff that nobody cared about, like the industry mags.
Okay. I was gonna say, like, you take off video games. You remember that one, or was it cheat codes?
Yeah, that people didn't care about.
Nobody cares about cheat codes.
Our magazine was red, so it was easy to see, and it had Street Fighter on the cover.
Nice.
So if people walked over, they were like, oh. So home mess people grabbed the magazine, but the publishers loved us because we were acting like we were a big-time publisher. Because we actually had a magazine. We had a full-color video game magazine. So they totally respected us and hooked us up. Let me tell you something. I did not know what I had back then. You know, we're getting phone calls. Yeah, we want to fly you out to play this golf game and check it out. And I couldn't go, so I'd send my cousin, who's into golf anyway. And they flew us out. We had steak and lobster. And we got to play golf and check out their game. And then one time, they'd always call last minute. Like, yeah, we're having this preview of the new snowboarding game. This was
Full Borders?
No. What was the company that made Wipeout? Psygnosis. Psygnosis was always throwing tons of money at these press junkets. They call us the last minute. Hey, we got a snowboarding game we're working on. We want you to come out and see it. And I'm like, I can't leave last minute to see this snowboarding game. So I called my cousin. He couldn't do it. And I guess one person, because it was last minute, nobody could go to this event. But one person from one magazine ended up going. They gave him a snowboard, boots, goggles, the whole nine. Just everyone that showed up. So stuff like that would happen. And like E3, they used to have this show called Home. There was this show called Home Something. And all these smaller companies would go in, they'd serve you lunch and show you all their stuff, like they had VR and controllers and stuff like that. And they would send a limo to the E3 Convention Center to pick you up. So that was our thing. Every year, we'd register for this show, we'd leave E3, get in the limo like a bunch of pimps, go to this other show, eat all their food, check out all their stuff, and then they give us a limo ride back to the hotel. It was crazy.
That's nuts.
Like, we were one of the #1 video game sites out there because there were no sites. It was the site that the people that used to run NeoGAF, which is NeoGAF is for Gaming Age. So Gaming Age Online, right? Who knew us? We knew them. We knew all their editors. EGM, and like. Next Gen magazine, I think they had a website, but nobody else had a website. If anybody else had a website, it was on like GeoCities or some shit, right? We had a .com.
Didn't Game Fan also have a website for a while too?
Yes, GameFan had a website, but that wasn't until later in the game. They were just straight publisher, and they've gone through so many iterations. But this was even before GameFan. Because GameFan, I don't know if y'all know, GameFan started out as a catalog.
Oh, really?
Yeah, me and my cousin were in Woodland Hills, California, and, on the back of VGM or whatever, you always saw these third-party places that would sell video games, all the cool shit and stuff from Japan. I'm like, we're in Woodland Hills. This is where Die Hard Game Fan is. Let's go in the store and see what they have. So we went to the Game Fan store. And they had all this import stuff for the Sega Saturn that we had never seen before. And we went nuts. And then when we were done, we grabbed their catalogs, right? Because they had this badass catalog, full color of all their games and stuff. And then they said, well, this is the last catalog. We're coming out with a magazine.
Oh, shit.
So we both subscribed to Game Fan. That's how we found out about it. But, through the years, and like I did it, we kept doing the reviews, and we were getting all kinds of shit, but we didn't realize what we had. So we didn't capitalize. We capitalized on it in our way because we were getting free games and all that shit, but we couldn't turn it into a business. If we knew better, we could have turned it into a business. And I shut it down because I got sick of it. Because there was a point when PlayStation 1 dominance was so huge that all these developers were coming out of the woodwork making shitty games for it. And
did Torrence cut out?
Uh-oh.
Oh, he's coming back. Back, man. Oh, there you are. You're back.
That wasn't me, was it? Or was it you?
No, that was you. You left like there was two Torrances for a little bit.
Okay, hold on. So anyway,
yeah, you were talking about how you were like the only guys that had a website. By the way, so how long did you do the magazine before you were like, all right, let's just do this shit online?
We only did one issue.
Oh, okay.
Because it was expensive, and it ended up, so there was a big mistake. So we were supposed to print, it was full color, and the cover was glossy, and the middle was like newsprint. It was like what they had in comic books, but thicker.
Yeah.
And they quoted us the wrong price. So instead of paying like $3,000, my roommate ended up paying almost $10,000 to get these things printed because they fucked up. And they quoted us the price. So whatever. But we couldn't afford to print it again. And that's when the web was starting. And I said, let's just take it and make it a website. So we learned HTML, and we took it and we made Video Game Time a website, VGT.com. And everybody loved it. We were like, oh, we got 100 hits today. Yes! Because we had one of those little counters down there, so I checked the counter. We got hits! We're kicking ass! And there was one time I went to E3, and I think it was Nyko, had all their new Dreamcast peripherals behind glass. You weren't supposed to take pictures of them, but I took pictures of them before I knew you weren't supposed to take pictures of them, and I posted them online. And every site that was a site back then was reposting my pictures because nobody else had them. So I was like, oh, that's cool. It was crazy back then. It was more fun. It was different. But anyway.
You were talking about like shitty PS1 games that all these developers are coming out with?
PS1, there was a time, I don't know if you guys remember, but there was a point where there was a ton of bullshit PlayStation 1 games.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and we get all this stuff for review, and I was just like, oh my god, I can't do this anymore. We were just getting crappy games, and we'd have to play them, and we didn't like the stuff that we were reviewing because they were just garbage. But they kept sending them to us, and it's like, I really can't do this, and I need more stuff. That's when I really started diving into PC gaming and doing other stuff, and I just got tired of doing it. And it was like right about that time when websites were starting to explode. It was like everybody was ready to, it was like all this kinetic energy was about to be released, when it came to video game websites. Because even EGM had a site and it sucked. It wasn't all that great.
Yeah.
So we stopped doing that, and then the internet exploded. And that's when Anthony he kept telling me I should start another website. He kept telling me, so I started the bitbag.com and got back into it and stuff and did that. And you all know the rest of the history from there. But that's
Well, you know, some of the listeners may not know, though, man.
Yeah, they're like, who is this Mr. Torrence Davis?
Well, okay, so we did the bitbag.com, which is still up and running.
Yeah,
It is.
Yeah, you
I
guys.
checked on it not long ago.
I don't, but a lot of the links to some of our old stuff are broken. I'm really upset about that. But anyway.
Yeah,
So,
you did the bitbag like years later, though, because there was like a big gap in there.
Yeah, so we did the bitbag, which really blew us up. So when I was living in California, I was on a radio show called Hot Set, and it was about movies. It was really awesome because we'd actually have to go to the radio studio, sit down in a room with a bunch of mics, and we did this show about filmmaking and movies and all this stuff. Totally got hooked on doing the whole radio show thing. So after that ended, I was like, wow, it'd be really cool to do another radio show. That was the most fun I ever had. I would look forward to it every weekend. I'd look forward to going to that place and doing that show. So that's when I thought, wow, they got this thing called podcasting. I could do the radio thing again, except I could do it from my own home.
Mm-hmm.
So that's when I said, And so I moved back to Boston, and I bought this really badass microphone. I said, let me do a podcast. So we started a podcast, and it was me, Lee Yee, a bunch of people you don't know. And we called it Unformatted because we didn't really have a format. We just get in there and we talk about video games, pop culture, whatever. And that kind of fell apart. And then the whole hip-hop gamer thing happened. So hip-hop gamer posted a video, and then Candid Anthony posted a video about Assassin's Creed and hunting down all those flags, and he said it sucked on the PlayStation because there was no achievements, so he got the Xbox version. So we can hunt down all those red flags and get achievements.
Mm-hmm.
Hip-hop gamer saw that video and talked about Candid Anthony in one of his videos. I don't know how the fuck we found this, but we found this dude talking about Candid Anthony, and he had this rap, and he was dissing him. I'm like, who is this guy? He's crazy, right? So I got in touch with Hip Hop Gamer. And I said,
Somebody get that phone, man.
Who's calling?
I don't know.
This is a busy man.
Just answer. Everybody's doing stir fry downstairs. That's why.
Okay. That's funny. That's the first time we ever had a phone call like that on Throwdown. So
Yeah.
that's for episode 50, people.
That's Hip Hop Gamer calling you.
That's Hip Hop Gamer. Yo, son. It's like,
I got in touch with Hip Hop.
yeah, just like you called him during Bloodborne.
Oh, it's funny as hell.
So I got in touch with Hip Hop because I thought Hip Hop was crazy, and I'm like, I gotta meet this guy. I gotta know who this guy is. So I got in touch with him. We talked, and then I said, let's do a podcast because we had this really deep conversation about video games. You know, we were going back and forth, and we talked for like 2 hours on Skype about video games. And I said, you know what? That's a podcast right there.
Yeah.
I said, let's do this. Let's do this every week. And he was down, so we made a podcast called The War Zone. It was originally just me and him. I have special guests on and stuff. And I was like, you know what? They have a way that you can have it on Skype so people can listen to you live. So I started that. It didn't work out too well. And then I got into the TeamSpeak thing, and people started. I don't even know how people found our website. It's still a mystery to me how all these people found it. So we started doing it on TeamSpeak, and then I started letting other people get in because I wanted to hear other people's voices. And I thought that was cool. Plus, it extended the length of the show. And yeah, so then I sold the BitBag and started Shut the Fuck Up and Play. And that was like 2 years on the dot. Or was it 3? I can't even remember. Because that's the last time I gave myself. I said, if it doesn't explode after 2 years, I'm done.
Yeah, it was about 2 years, yeah.
And then I still continued to do the Warzone after that, and then I killed the Warzone because the Warzone was just completely out of control. And I didn't realize back then that it needed a reboot and a refresh, but I just killed it. And then after a year, everybody kept asking. A whole year went by, and people were still asking for the show.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like,
They even had a hashtag. Remember that shit, man?
I'm like, that's what I did. I said, let me create a hashtag let me see if people are really interested in this and how I could bring this show back where it's fun again. And I said, number one, I can't have Hip Hop Gamer on the show. I love the dude to death, but for as many people that can't stand me talking about anal sex, he always brought up his TV in every debate about everything. And I'm like, this is fucking ridiculous. And it's just and people just took advantage of the fact that they had open mic, and it was just a mess. So I said, how can I do it and make it fun again? So okay, so I'll do it again. I won't have Hip Hop Gamer on. I'll cut it down to 2 hours. And I'll keep it straight to the point. We'll talk about news, and then we'll go off to some other topics. I started the hashtag, and it was almost, I think it was a year later after I canceled it, I started it up again.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so much better than before. It's so much. I actually look forward to it now. We have a blast on the show now. So Warzone's back. Shut the Fucking Play is dead. And I had to create a home for the podcast, so I created VGWarzone.com just so I had a place to post the shows. And here I am.
That's pretty crazy, man. I want to ask you some deeper shit, though. We talked about Otaku Man earlier. You know, Andre, he was telling me a story, you know, because we had him on, like, last year, almost a year ago, and he was telling me a story about how, like, you and him were, like, the only black dudes in the industry back in the day. So, yeah, so tell us about that, like, you know, coming from the industry when you're, like, the only brothers.
It was me, my cousin, Perry, and at the same time, when we were doing video game time, I guess he was doing stuff. That was it. There were no other, because I go to E3. There was not one other black face at E3, not one.
That's crazy.
It was just I'd often think, what are these people must think? Who the fuck is this guy? You know, who's this gorilla walking down the aisle?
Damn.
Shit.
I mean, because I'm like, what were people thinking? And it wasn't like it is now. Like, now you know that video games is a white male-dominated industry in terms of journalism part.
Yeah.
Back then, you knew who the writers were, but there was, like, you could probably 10 to 15 people you knew of. Like, I was a big fan of Ed Semrad, who was the editor-in-chief of Electronic Games Magazine. Ed knew who I was because I'd show up at E3, and we'd always run into each other. And I remember being on the shuttle bus heading to E3 because I was pissed off because they gave Third World War a bad review. And it was one of my favorite Sega Saturn games. I'm like, how could you give this game a bad review when in the game you find a cure for AIDS?
Oh, shit.
They thought of everything because the game, as time passes, things happen. It's just a really cool fucking game. It was so badass, I did a 2-page spread in the Video Game Time magazine. And I was like, Ed, because he was sitting behind me, I'm like, what was up with your Third World War review? He's like, I'm like, it was horrible. I'm like, the game's awesome. And he's just like, I don't know, man. Because I caught him off guard. But I'd run into him, the Working Designs guys. I'd go hang out at their booth all the time.
Yeah, Working Designs, they used to do some really good stuff.
Oh, they did the best. Well, you know who took over their work? Who does all the localization now?
It's Atlas now. Atlas seems to be the one.
Atlas is another one. There's Atlas and there's one other one. They do a lot of good localization, really good manuals, really good packages, but nobody did work as good as Working Designs. Their stuff was so fucking dope. Their manual that had like embossed or raised text with gold and full color and thick paper and like. And all the stuff they did was dope. But anyway, so I'd hang out with them people. I'd go and hang out with Sega. You know, like when I had a big crew, they all used to get pissed off at me. So it was like 5 of us. Me, my cousin, the guy from Software Etc., and a few other people. And like we go to E3, and one time we left E3, and we saw that ESPN took up this big portion of a parking lot, and they were having a party because ESPN was launching their own game company. I said, oh, let's check this out. So we walk over. Of course, I'm in the front of the group because I'm the most anxious. And I walk in. There's this big 6'8" bodyguard there. And I walk in, and I just walk in. Nobody says anything to me. And I go, I grab a beer, and I sit down. And I turn around. My whole crew is still at the door arguing with the bouncer because they won't let him in.
Oh, shit.
I'm like, oh, wait a minute, what happened here? So I get up, and I walk up, and I give him my business card. I said, these are all my guys. I'm the editor-in-chief. They're like, oh, okay. So then everybody comes in. And my cousin's pissed. Is like, they never fucking do it. They never stop him from walking anywhere because he's so big.
It's that, and you have to look like, you kind of have to look like you own the place.
You have to look like you own the place, which is what I did. Because I didn't want to go through the rigmarole of, oh, let's give them business cards and tell them who we are and this and that. I would
fuck that, man. Just go up and be like, yo, I'm here, all right, and that's it, you know?
Walked past the bodyguard, excuse me. Walked in, nobody said anything, and I do it all the time. It's like when my cousin, he'd get pissed. I tell you guys about the time that we were at E3, and you have to go, like Nintendo had this thing where you have to go to all these booths and collect these stamps. And once you collected all the stamps, you get a Nintendo hat. He went through, he collected all these stamps, and he lost his little booklet.
Oh.
He went up to the girl and he says, look, I lost my booklet. I don't want to have to go see all those games again. And she would not. She said, nope, can't do it, sorry. And he got pissed. So we had the little teeny pencils that they gave us, and he started throwing pencils at her. He was pissed. He's like, I'm with the fucking press. I just want to get one hat. Why can't you give me a hat? I don't want to go through get through the stupid stamps again. And he's yelling at her, and he's throwing pencils at her. I'm like, oh my God. But it was so funny. He did the same thing at the airport. So we're going to E3. I think this was when we were going to CES, right? Going to CES. Perry's flying in. He's snowed in Chicago, and he has to stay overnight, so he's going to miss a whole day, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, at the ticketing booth, when they have all those little brochures sitting up there?
Yeah.
The lady's like, she can't get him a flight out of Chicago. It's not her fault. He takes his bag, and he runs it across the top and knocks all the brochures over.
He had a bit of an anger issue there.
Man, it's hilarious. Like, we go to the Nintendo booth, right? Nintendo used to make you go through the front, go through the thing, play your games, and you had to exit out the back.
Mm-hmm.
Go through the front, you had to watch your video. I'm like, I'm not doing that again. I hop over the ropes, and I just walk in. He tries to do it, they stop him. You didn't stop him! Why didn't you stop him? So I had to walk over. He's with me. It's okay. Don't worry about it. So it was funny because I wish he was here to tell you, because when he tells you from his perspective, it's fucking hilarious. But anyway.
I just find funny this dude's throwing shit at women.
Yeah, he definitely would have been on some website if that stuff happened today.
Yeah, we're going to touch on that later on.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that's what it is, man.
But yeah, I mean, but did you have to experience so much shit because you were black? It seemed like your size let you get away with a bunch of stuff.
You know what? I'm a nice guy, so I didn't. I wasn't. We didn't have any issues because we were black. No, we were the only black ones there, but we didn't have any issues. There were no issues at all.
Okay, that's good to hear, because I know some guys now, like Hip Hop Gamer, he always has to deal with shit, but he's not there with that persona. You're just a regular guy. He's Hip Hop Gamer. People are going to be like, what's up with this guy?
He's got the belt.
Yeah. I remember
I always say that that's his gift and his curse at the same time.
Yes, exactly.
Because without the Hip Hop Gamer personality or your persona, it kind of doesn't work.
Right.
He kind of needs it to kind of, to be, it's part of the package.
Yep.
And people, can look at that and start seeing, seeing stuff that they shouldn't be.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I want to ask you about how the industry's changed in your opinion, because you were in it from the beginning until now, because obviously it's really fucking changed. So, can you tell us about that?
Well, I can tell you now, back then, when the web started and when it started booming, there were video game websites coming out. You could write an article about a game, and that was good enough. You didn't have to create clickbait. You didn't have to write about sexism in the game industry because nobody gave a shit back then. Like, back then, if you had a scantily clad woman in a game, nobody ever cared. Nobody talked about it. There was no commentary on it. You know, nobody gave a fuck. When that first Dead or Alive game came out, and them tits were bouncing like crazy, there's no backlash, no negative articles or anything. People loved it. It's like, wow, they're really getting good with the physics in video games. There was no, oh, this is sexist and this is bad. We need to change this. It's not a good place for women to play. None of that existed.
Yeah, I was thinking about this just earlier today. A game like Dead or Alive Beach Volleyball could not be made today at all. Exactly. It's crazy how. So yeah, let's get on that. What's your take on this whole feminism? Actually, let's go back. Why do you think this started happening? Like, where did this shift come in? Because it seems to me like it happened maybe about 10 years ago. That's when it started happening, and now it's like full blown. What do you attribute it to?
A resurgence of feminism. Here's the thing. Like, you have feminism, which is equality for women, right? And then you have fake feminism, or what some call Nazi feminism or whatever, feminazis.
Yeah.
These are women who, they hate men, they don't believe in equality, and all they want to do is complain and ruin everybody else's fun.
Yep.
And since they're not getting any press anywhere else, they've invaded the video game industry. So now they're all over the video game industry, and they're telling people that video games is not a safe place for women, and there's too many games with sexist characters and this and that. All this new information's coming out all of a sudden, because this just happened in like the last 3 years. Then you got Anita Sarcastic making her videos, right? And she's putting stuff into people's heads about she has something negative to say about everything.
Everything. Nothing positive. She has this huge platform, right? She never says anything positive about games. And here's the other thing. If she has such a big platform, why isn't she trying to get women into fucking game development, anything like that? You never hear any of that shit from her. Just fucking complaints.
I mean, we've broken this down before. She's dependent on the environment that's out there. She can never say, "Oh, I like the way this worked." She'll have to find something wrong with everything.
Yes.
In order for her to exist, because she's totally dependent on it, and she makes money off it. Let's say the things were a little bit different, and she wasn't making money off of it, and she was doing something for the better of women and women out there. Then it'd be a different story.
Yes.
Yeah.
Go unnoticed.
Yeah, exactly. And then I want to bring up an analogy Brett always brings up. I mean, there's been various things of it, but it's basically like, imagine if you're talking about like Wolverine versus Captain America, right? Mm-hmm. And then some dude shows up, hey, I want to talk about Archie comics. It's like, okay, that's a little weird, right? So like, okay, we can talk about a little bit about Archie comics, and then the conversation goes on. It's like, you know what? You guys are wrong for talking about Wolverine and Captain America. We should just talk about Archie comics. It's like, motherfucker, no one invited you. So
there's an Archie comic party over there. Go there.
Yes.
Those people are already talking about this shit. They want to talk about this shit.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Brett, expand it, please, because you're better at this than I am. Go ahead. So yeah, give the whole analogy of what it's like now.
Okay, well, it's okay. As Tony already kind of capped on, like it's kind of like you're just hanging out with a bunch of friends, talking about fucking superheroes or something like that, and you're all talking about comic books, and people are coming up. They're like, "Hey, man, do you mind if I talk about comic books with you?" And most of the time, you're like, "Sure," but half of the time, you're like, "What is Wolverine's real name?" Like, you start lobbing some easy questions at them just to make sure that they know what they're talking about, and if they're like, his name is Bruce, isn't it? And you're like, get the fuck out of here. We're talking. Like, I don't want to have to spend this whole time explaining everything from the get-go. Like, this is a members' conversation. I hate to be elitist about it, and I'll sit down and explain the whole backstory if you actually act like you're interested. If you're like, hey, man, can you explain the backstory of X-Men? Like, no comic nerd is going to say no. But right now, we're talking about this. We are all congregated for this reason, okay? So these people then come in and they're like, okay, well, I want to join you, and the fact that you won't let me talk about your comic books, that's exclusionary. And you're like, okay, fine, you can come in, They start talking about, like, you know what, I really think we should talk about the X-Men movies. And you know what, we should just talk about all movies. You know what's really cool? Chick flicks. And you're like, okay, you know what, like, you've completely derailed our conversation. And then they start crying about, oh, you don't want to let us in on the conversation. This is a members-only club. And through some kind of weird reverse thing, it becomes exclusionary in and of itself. Like, and that's my problem. Like, at the very base of it, like, we need to be inclusionary, but we've become exclusionary. Like, there's no reason why we can't have big boobs and, like, scantily clad supermodel, non-realistic type women, and, giant bodybuilder type women, and tiny little petite women, and things like that. Like, there's no reason we can't have everything, but we've come to a point in social justice where people want to exclude what other people like, because apparently for some reason you're not allowed to like something for some reason because it hurts the moral fabric of society. But kind of going off what Tony led into, it's basically like we're all having an X-Men party, right? We're all having a Marvel party, and then you want to come in and you want to fucking talk about Batman. That's fine, and to a certain extent we'll deal with that to a certain point. But then when you come in and say we want to talk only about Batman, the point becomes, motherfucker, there's a Batman party. There's other people who want to talk about Batman. Right. This is a party for the people who want to have to talk about X-Men. I don't care if you think Batman is intrinsically and inherently better. That is your opinion. That doesn't mean that you can come in and derail our conversation, because in your mind everybody should be talking about Batman. That's, at that point, you're impeding on people's rights to enjoy something, when you could just fucking find a group of like-minded people yourself. It's unnecessary.
Then they don't get attention.
Yeah, that's what it is, though. That's what they're doing.
It's all about attention whoring, and that's what the websites are doing now, because they're siding with these feminists, and they want to write about it. Instead of writing about the game, you want to write about how they made the women look in this game, even though they were whores and fucking brothels back then. You're upset that it exists in the game, and you want to talk about how it's too violent, although you're playing a first-person shooter.
Yeah.
You shoot people from a first-person perspective to kill them. You want to talk about how it's too violent and all this shit. It's the new thing. It will die.
I hope so, man, because it seems like what's going on in gaming is just what's happening in the whole country. You can't say shit now.
Yeah,
you can't get away with anything. Go ahead, man.
It's not even just women anymore. People are just getting offended by anything. I remember when the trailers for Resident Evil 5 came out, and they showed Chris Redfield, and he was fighting black zombies, right? And what was the first thing? People are outraged. Oh my God, he's shooting black people. I'm offended. Like, and it's like,
word people use, triggered.
Yeah, triggered. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, oh my God, and it's snowballing now. Any little thing just sets someone off, like, and then just becomes.
Did anybody mention that the Hispanic people were getting killed in Resident Evil 4?
No, that's the thing.
Yeah, they did.
Oh, they absolutely. Not Hispanic people, but Spanish people.
Yeah, they totally talked about it. But
it's probably okay because they're white, right?
Yeah, that's what it is.
Isn't that fucked up too?
Yeah,
it's like,
it is
okay,
fucked
what,
up.
you can only kill white people inside of games?
There were people that still got up in arms about basic colonialism, and like, there go white people just tromping into poor foreign countries, fucking imposing their will. But like, here's the thing: I don't think anybody is actually legitimately enraged by this kind of thing. It's just people wear triggers like a badge of honor because it makes them feel like they're sensitive. People wave flags because they're so. They think that they look good waving them, or they think that, fucking Rachel's a perfect example. Like, there are people that will pop on message boards. Like, somebody will, she'll be on a message board and somebody will be like, wow, that, this video game that you made is so bad it gave me cancer. And then somebody will pop on and be like, I don't really think that's very responsible or thoughtful. There are a lot of people out there that have had a lot of triggers and had a really tough time. And then here comes Rachel, and she's like, I'm sorry, have you had cancer? Have your family members have cancer? Do you have any reason to get all self-righteous and up in arms and fucking dig into my past like you fucking own it? Like, these people, they want to get up in arms about something because it makes them look sensitive. But most of the time, even the people that they're defending don't want them there. And the only reason that they're doing it is because they look just so goddamn good waving that flag.
Yep. It's retarded.
Yeah, it's taking all the fun out of it, man. I mean, remember last week they announced our Micah, right, for Street Fighter. Everybody went crazy, and it's like she looks exactly the same way she did fucking 10 years ago. What's the problem here? No one said shit back then. No one cared. No one cared. It's crazy, man. So, anyway, Torrence, you said, okay, why do you think it's going to die? Because I don't see it dying out anytime soon.
Because I think that people like us, we're stronger and more resilient. So we're just going to hold down the fort and deal with it till it's over. Because what's going to happen is these people, these sensitive people, these people that get offended easily, all these things that they're doing, it's just going to stop working for them. Eventually Polygon's going to have to stop writing articles about this stuff. You know, eventually, I don't know. Anita Sarcastic. Eventually, she's going to die out. She's not going to last forever. This is a fad, a phase. You know, something that's happening right now, but it's not going to continue.
We got over it in the '90s. We'll get over it now, right?
Yeah, she's already had her TED Talks and her guest appearances at universities. And anybody who's a real gamer knows she's full of shit.
Yeah.
You know, she's clearly playing Super Mario as a child. And she's going to sit here and say that Super Mario is sexist because of the whole damsel in distress thing. She's full of shit. And people are going to see through that. She's going to die. It's all going to die out. And we're still going to play the games we want to play. And that's just the bottom line right there. That's what's going to happen. It's just going to die out because people are going to get sick of it. People are going to get sick of hearing them. You know, they're going to stop paying attention to them, and they're all going to die out.
Now watch tomorrow all the headlines say, Torrence Davis says Anita Sarkeesian's going to die.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Misogyny!
It's and the thing is, they actually get angry over this stuff. Like,
yeah, they do, man.
Jonathan Krappentosh, he gets angry over this stuff. He gets like, you could see it in his face. He's angry that there was cleavage in a game or something, or some woman got killed. And I'm like, what is wrong with these people?
Well, why can't you just not play that game? Like, that's the thing. Like, why can't you just not enjoy this content? What makes you feel compelled to say that nobody else should be able to enjoy that content? Like, that's the disconnected part I don't get.
Just talk about the geopolitical situation in the Philippines and ignore the game. You can just do that.
Do that shit. Fucking
well, I mean, like, I'm sure there's stuff here that makes everybody uncomfortable. Like, I'm going to take a shot in the dark and be like, if you're in a small enclosed space and two dudes start, like, aggressively making out, you're probably going to exit the elevator or something like that. But that doesn't mean that they don't have a right to do it. It just means, like, I prefer not to be here for this.
I might see how far.
Yeah.
Well, see, that's the other thing. That's the beauty of the world. Some people are going to sit there and be into it. Some people are going to sit there in complete amusement just to see what happens. Some people are going to pull out their flip phones. Like, the world takes all types, and that's the beautiful thing. Just because I don't want to hang out in an elevator while two dudes finger bang doesn't mean that somebody else doesn't find that shit hilarious.
Well, once it gets bad, I'm leaving.
Yeah, by the way, here's the ironic part, though, right? It's more acceptable to have two dudes aggressively making out, right, than having a girl showing off her titties in the same elevator. It's like, really? Like,
that's
titties
because it's progressive to defend two dudes making out. Like, it's not
but titties are life. Men and women alike should love titties. That's where life comes from, man.
Well, you got to turn it on itself. Then you got to say the people who are talking about the titties are shaming the female form.
Get the fuck out of here with that
you know
shit.
What's funny? Miley Cyrus, as crazy as she is, she made total sense. She said that America doesn't have a problem with the breast. They have a problem with the nipple.
The nipple, that's what is true.
And what's odd about that is both men and women have nipples.
Yep.
She said, I just don't get it. You can show all of your breasts, but as long as your nipple's covered, everybody's happy.
The female nipple.
Yeah, it's weird.
Yeah, you know what's funny? Today we were looking. Yeah. You're right about that. Today we were looking through your Facebook to find a good picture of you, right? And you had your pictures there, and I don't know what show you went to, but it was a bunch of women that were painted, right? And they just had like tape over their nipples, but the whole titty was showing, and everybody was fine with that. It's crazy.
Oh, you found that? Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, listen, you don't have all your pictures readily available, so
we dug, man.
You gotta look at your Facebook.
Yeah, the other thing I want to ask you about, Torrence, is the big one right here. fanboys.
Yes.
Let's talk about fanboys. How have they evolved in your eyes, man?
How have I evolved around them?
Yeah, okay.
They used to annoy me to the point where I spent time arguing with them and talking about them. Now I sit back and I'm like, what the fuck? Every week I read the comments on your Throwdown posts.
Oh, man.
And every week I'm like, I can't believe this motherfucker was talking about Forza.
It's like the weekly occurrence.
I said, this can't be real. He's doing this as a troll, and it's working. And even after I said, everybody just ignore everything that he writes, people can't help it. They got to respond to him, and it just keeps going and going and going. I'm like, I cannot believe this shit. I can't get involved anymore. I can't. I just can't. It's just so stupid.
Man, every Batman needs a Joker.
Sales in the UK, sales in Japan. Whatever we can use to win this argument. Well, they sold more in Kentucky. You know, it's like, who the fuck cares? Just play your fucking game. I would just like just one time to see everybody in the comment section just talking about the games they like. Talk about what you played. Talk about why you're so excited about Metal Gear Solid. You know, talk about why you're so excited about Just Cause 3. Instead of arguing over bullshit.
And if they do talk about games, it's about the resolution.
Yeah, I'm just like, who the fuck cares?
Or who has the better version? Who's getting the exclusive content?
And my PC Master Race starts going off, and I'm just like, why are they talking about resolution in consoles? Why? I told these dudes before the generation started that these consoles are not that powerful in comparison to PCs. So why?
Well, every day that goes by, the power gap gets more and more ridiculous between PCs and consoles.
Yeah. And
like I just went out and spent less than $200 on a 4 gig video card, not like a bargain bin 4 gig video card.
Really?
Oh yeah.
What did you get?
Let me see. A AMD R9290X 4 gigabyte.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
The NVIDIA guys are going to come after you now, Brett.
Whatever. Whatever. My my system's got adequate ventilation, and I don't care to spend that much extra money on something that's pretty much price only. Yes, my drivers work fine. Yes, all my games run fine. It's awesome. Shut up.
Yeah, it's like I just don't understand it. The funny thing is, if you really listen close to the Warzone, I said, here's how it's going to go. I said, PlayStation 4, Xbox One's going to come out, and all the shit that comes out is going to look just like the PC. And that's going to go on for like a year and a half, 2 years, and then all of a sudden you're going to see PC games start taking the lead again. And there's going to be this huge gap that's going to start growing between PC and console once again. Because now that the developers have more power and they have better tools, the X12 is now out there, now they can do stuff on PC that they were too limited to do last generation. You know? So I'm like, why are you arguing about what these little black boxes are doing? And I just want to see a conversation like, you know, when you're riding on the bus with your friend and you talk about video games, that's the kind of conversation I want to see in the comments section.
That doesn't happen. Here's the thing, just staying on topic. We did one episode this summer where the main topic was about games that we think left a lasting legacy, right? Mm-hmm. Pretty positive or neutral episode, right? That was our lowest rated fucking show. And then the next week we say something about Sony's MPDs blowing up again, so it's like, and then was it a couple weeks ago we had this dude Yanya on to talk about Metal Gear, right? And his shit, the comments wasn't even about the fucking interview, it was just about the same shit every time, PS4 versus Xbox. I'm like, man.
Yeah, you granted that was wound up being one of our more popular episodes because of Metal Gear's in the hearts and minds of all children right now.
Yeah. but the thing is, this episode's gonna blow up too, Torrence, just because of you, man. You're a lightning rod, man.
all I gotta do is say other Zinc needs to be committed.
Oh man,
it starts a fire. And there's, fanboys. I guess fanboys are never gonna die, but I think
it all really stems from the fact that, and Brett, we've all talked about this before, where it's like, people kind of want to, protect their investments. A lot of people.
There's a lot of insecurity going on. That's the problem.
Yeah, it's like, I put it, I mean, granted, I've always said this. I mean, I owned a fucking 3DO. You can't get any more, and I wasn't fooling myself. I knew what I got into, I knew what I was getting into, and you know what? I still fucking had fun with it. So what the fuck about that, man? Seriously.
Yeah, it's insecurity with purchase of games and console where they have to defend it so bitterly. It's not friendly like the old days when you used to have the Nintendo and Sega rivalry and you used to jive your friends and stuff. Like I had Genesis. I remember as a kid I had Genesis. All my buddies had Super Nintendo. My cousin had Super Nintendo. It would be like, oh, I got the better games or I got this, whatever. But it was friendly. Like now it's just like venomous. It's if you say one wrong thing. Like even I have an Xbox One. If I say one wrong thing, who jumps out my throat? Damien jumps out my throat. Jumps out my throat. Like the other day, remember I said my power supply burned out, then Damien jumped out my throat? Like,
yeah, he did.
No, I didn't do anything, it just didn't work.
Like Chris doesn't understand the Xbox.
Yeah, I don't understand Xbox, right? I just turn on my console
right?
He's just jamming it into unregulated power supplies, stripping the cords and plugging directly in the wall. Chris, the difference is that it used to be when you sat down with somebody in your fucking cafeteria or something like that, and you talked about, be like, oh man, my Sega Genesis is way better because I have this awesome tactical game called General Chaos, and you don't have anything like that in the Nintendo. The conversation would end up, so you want to come over after school and play that game I was telling you about? And the answer would be yes! Fuck yes, I want to play this game. Nowadays, people are like, no, that's for the Xbox. I don't want to play that. Or no, that's for the PS4. I'm not touching that.
For me, it was like, holy shit, did you get Cybernator? I want to.
Oh yeah,
just like the arcade version.
Yeah, it's just, oh my god, it's insane.
Yeah, I think it's the internet though, man.
Yeah, it's just whatever. I can't waste my time with them anymore. I can't.
I also think it's like now a lot of people have the magic of being anonymous. Not being responsible for the things they actually say.
Yeah, but Torrence, let's be honest though, you still like to troll though, man. You're never gonna really stop.
Oh, I love to troll. It's fun.
You get me all the time, man.
It's funny, dude. What cracks me up is like, even on Twitter with you, it's just like, hey Tony, you have to admit you're wrong now. I put all the facts there for you. I put them all there for you.
Man, like, you know my hard-headed ass, man. You give me one opening, I'm gonna get you, man.
You something, and then I retweet it because I agree with it. Like, if you're a console gamer, you shouldn't be complaining about resolution.
Oh yeah, I was pissed the other day, man, because I was talking about PC gamers, the elite guys, right? And those motherfuckers. And then I'm going off on this rant, and I'm like, you know what? The console gamers are a bunch of idiots too. Why are you talking about 1080p, 60 frames a second? Buy a fucking PC if you're gonna talk about that shit, You
don't talk about it if you have a PC. It's just there.
Yeah, exactly. Turn the shit on, right?
Yeah. You're like.
Go ahead, man.
Go ahead, Manny.
Manny, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say it's just they're just they want the PC experience, but they don't want to
for $400, right?
$400 and not actually want to and not put in the PC effort, Yeah,
it's like the math doesn't work, guys. $400 for the same shit, something that's like $700, $800. No, it just doesn't fucking work. I don't get it. I don't talk about that shit. I don't care. Is the game good? That's all I care about.
That's what I want the discussion to be about. How's the game?
Well, here's
all this stuff about Metal Gear Solid 5. I'm like, oh man. Then I saw a clip of him fighting some guy like really fast.
Yeah.
What the fuck was that?
That's not even a special move. That's just how he fights now, man.
I'm like, holy shit! This isn't the game that I've been watching for the past year. It's got like some martial arts in it or something.
Yeah, he's got CQC, the close quarters combat.
And he's got his bionic arm now.
Yeah.
Much faster.
He can shoot. There's an upgrade for it where you can shoot it off like a friggin' rocket punch.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that.
He can shoot it off of his arm.
Hey, do you guys, the ironic part is, remember when we all had the argument when the consoles were coming out about how you couldn't build something equivalent for the price point of a console?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we've all
The
had,
price points for PC parts have all come down. You can very easily build yourself something stronger than either of the consoles for like $400.
my video card alone costs $500, so I have nothing to say in this conversation.
You got the beast.
I got a video card too.
Oh no.
I think you got really old GeForce, right?
I got this video card from my cousin.
Oh,
Oh no, that's a newer card. That's
a good one.
yeah,
It's a pretty decent one. I gotta put it. He gave me two. He sent me two. Sent me an old GeForce and he sent me this one. I'm like, I'm gonna put this one in eventually.
Yeah, you should put that one in.
Yeah, Manny described that for the people who who were listening.
Sorry about that. It's a let me look at it again.
I think it's a 750 Ti.
Yeah, it's a 750 Ti EVGA GeForce GTX.
Nice, but yeah, let's wrap this up. With this, Torrence. So, what are some of your favorite games of all time? Like, starting from like early days till now. Like, what were some of the games that like, oh shit, this is fucking crazy?
Tempest, Mass Effect 1, Just Cause 2,
Evolution.
Asura's Wrath, Heavenly Sword. I'd say for Halo, probably the first Halo game. I really loved.
Combat Evolved.
Yeah. Red Faction, Guerrilla, Herzog's Way.
Oh shit.
Panzer
Dragoon, man.
Panzer Dragoon 1 and 2, definitely.
Saga.
Guardian Heroes, Gunstar Heroes.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
If it has Treasure Star on it, it's in that list. Mail Order Monsters.
I don't even know that one.
It's old. I had it from my Atari 800. Let's put it that way. You basically, it was from Electronic Arts, and you basically build the monster from parts, and then you take them out to do battle. I wish they would remake that game.
There's a lot of games that I want them to remake. There's that whole section of time when they used to make Genesis games. There were like all these kind of kooky, like weird games.
Torrence, what's the wrestling series you really love?
Fire Pro.
Yeah.
Pro Wrestling.
Oh, that's old. Yeah.
This is a lot. Shit. I really
not every game, just the main ones. I know Shenmue's probably in there somewhere.
I don't really have many, but I'll tell you what. In the last 10 years, Heavenly Sword's at the top of my list. That game hit me on an emotional level. I love fucking Heavenly Sword. I love everything about that game.
So I'm guessing that you're very excited for Hellblade.
Yes, I am. Yes, I am.
You know, have you been keeping track of the development of it? They do these really great development diaries. And like, it's pretty amazing because they're trying to make, like a big video game, but for the price of like an indie game.
Yeah. Yep.
They're using all kinds of software to kind of help assist them in building environments and all kinds of other really great things. I'm like, wow, if they could somehow get that working.
Oh, they will. Ninja Theory is absolutely amazing.
Yeah, they're the shit, man.
You leave them to do their thing, they are incredible. Like, Enslaved was good. It wasn't great. I thought Enslaved could have been a lot better. But you look at Heavenly Sword, man, it was a first-gen fucking PlayStation 3 title. And it absolutely blew my mind on so many fucking levels.
And would you say out of all of the remasters out there, does Heavenly Sword deserve one?
Oh, hell yes. I think if you got a remaster game, especially for people who've never got a chance to play it, that is the game you fucking remaster and put out.
That would be nice if they did that right before Hellblade.
And that, people would fucking love it, man. It's just, There's so many good things about it. Just the story alone.
Yeah, that story's fucking nuts, man.
It's so fucking good. It's just and the characters and the acting and the narrative, just everything about it is just like, wow, I actually felt bad for characters. And then I felt good when certain characters got killed. I was like, yes, motherfucker. You know when you finish a boss and you yell at your screen, fuck you, when you put your controller fuck you, bitch, motherfucker. And you stand up and you pace around, then you sit down and you skip to the next scene and you see just like,
and then you hear ding.
That's what I did with that game. And I'm pissed because it's the one game, I swear to God, if they had trophies, that would have been my first platinum. I'll tell you what, if they remake that for PlayStation 4, I'll get the shit just the platinum. So I still don't have a fucking platinum.
I'll put your words on that.
I would buy that again just for the trophies.
All right, that's for the record right there, people. Let's start a campaign, man. Let's get this shit on PS4. Let's go.
So Torrance can get the platinum.
I looked at all. I said, "What can I easily get a platinum in? I need to impress Riku-san." And I play a game on hard and beat it, no platinum. I'm like, I thought all you had to do is beat it in hard to get a platinum. No, you got to run around and find 50 fucking things.
And beat it on the difficulty that they locked away from you. That's harder than hard.
Yeah, it's just like.
See, you got to play Telltale games, man. They give you that fucking platinum. You just got to complete all 5 chapters. That's it.
If you want that euphoric feeling after being a boss, you have to play the Souls games. That's for every boss.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That dance, even the first one.
That's definitely one game that you will still get that feeling in the Souls games.
Even if you don't get a trophy for it, it's like, I beat that motherfucker.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Man, that was me. Like, every boss got that treatment from me. Fuck you, asshole. I got you, man.
That's like beating bosses in the first Mega Man. That's how we were, man. Mega Man 1 came out, and you think, we got cut, man. We got that motherfucker.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. On to the next one. Let's go. When you figured out which weapon was the best one to use after you killed a few bosses, don't use that. Don't use the leaves. Use the wind. Yeah. And then you beat them, holy shit. Your fingers are all sweating and your thumb hurts from pressing that fucking rectangle-ass NES pad for fucking hours.
The inside of your hands, that would always hurt with those things.
Yeah, because it's rectangular.
Yeah. See, this is the shit I'm talking about, man. Nobody talks about games like this anymore. Instead of talking about games and playing games, they're just, on their keyboard talking shit. That's all they're doing,
Warrior.
Yeah.
We're actually talking about good experiences. There's not enough of that going on online. That's the problem. Everybody's just shitting on things, or there's
everyone
minority shitting on everything.
Good experience.
Go ahead,
playing the
Rick.
games.
Say that again, man.
No, sorry to cut you off, because I was saying I think everyone that's having good experiences are too busy playing the game.
Yeah.
Everyone that's having a bad experience are obviously not having a good time playing the game, so they go on the internet and talk about it.
No, exactly.
You may have
over resolutions and frame rates. There's dudes out there, oh my god, this is fucking awesome. And they're just playing. That's all.
Like our boy Reggie, he was making fun of me. He's like, man, you don't see Romulus on Twitter no more because I'm playing Metal Gear, man. I ain't got time to talk. I'm having my horse take a shit on the road so it can slip up the cars, man. That's the kind of shit I want to do. Yeah, dude, man, he's telling me about that. You can have your horse shit on the road, and then when the caravan comes, the fucking car just slips.
Yeah, the car slips off the road. There's so many things, because even Kojima always thinks about these things where it's like, what if you did this? And then you try it, and I was like, All
right, we'll get into Metal Gear. Yeah, we'll get into Metal Gear in a bit. But so Torrence, if you had any special message to say to gamers, what would it be?
Shit. Don't listen to anybody. Go with your heart. And I say that, like, what the fuck is he talking about? It's just a game. Don't listen to anybody. The game comes out, and you think you like it, buy it and play it. Fuck the reviews, fuck what anybody's saying on Twitter, buy the stuff that you want to buy, play it, and enjoy it. This is something I have always done. Always. And people laugh at me when I talk about games like Dark Void or Too Human, but I got those games, and I actually, actually like them.
See, but that's what I'm saying, though. Like, I personally, like Dark Void, I hate that game, but you like it, so you wouldn't have known that if you listened to everybody.
Right, exactly.
I think everybody has their kind of, like, if you see it, you kind of like it, kind of a deal. Like I usually that's at least the way I still kind of buy games, not totally based on the reputation that it's kind of earned, but also just if it looks like something that might hit me the right way,
Well, see, that's the way we had to buy games. That's how it started from.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, well, all you had was a cover in those days.
No, man.
Couple pictures.
No,
Yeah,
you had the Sears catalog back in the day.
Oh, yeah,
I was gonna get that.
No, I was always thinking, like, you go to the game store and you're just like, I remember being all pissed off that they didn't put the pictures of the game on the back of the back of the box. So you just had to look at the cover and be like, maybe.
I think I'm
That's like
feeling what
what
they're
half of my
going for here.
2600 games.
Yeah. Yo, let me try Mega Man. That shit looks dope.
Oh god, the box art for Mega Man looked terrible.
No, I mean that's part of the reason why I never played the original Mega Man. I'm like, oh my god, who drew this?
Why?
I had somebody make me play Mega Man.
Go ahead, Torrance.
It was a robot.
Yeah, you thought it was a dude in a still stupid helmet.
Or mech. It has to be something like, let's get it. And it ended up being fucking dope. Herzog's Wii. All the little guys, those little tanks and little people running around. I'm like, oh, that looks fucking awesome. Let's get that. And it was one of my favorite Genesis games of all time. So
Yeah.
based on that logic, looking at the pictures and saying, yes, this looks like something I would play, that's what I do with all the fucking games. I don't care what the people say with the reviews. I watch videos and I'm like, yeah, I definitely want to play this just by looking at it. I don't need anybody's opinion on anything. And that's how I buy shit. People wonder why I have fucking 179 games in Steam and so many games in my backlog is because I see something cool that I like and I'll buy it. And
The gaming connoisseur.
Yeah, I'll play a little bit, go play something else. I'm doing a lot of that now that I'm not working. I'm jumping back and forth. Ooh, let me check this out. Let me get a couple rounds of Splatoon in. Let me go destroy some buildings in Red Faction Armageddon. Destroy some shit. It's just that's the way I am. That's how everybody should be. But some people they can only buy 1 or 2 games a year, so I understand.
Yeah, but at the same time, here's the thing, and I said this last week too. It's like, okay, if you can't buy every game, that's fine, but I don't understand the whole shit talking about a game that you never even played. It's like, why are you talking shit? You haven't even played it. Just
I know what Tony's gonna say. He's gonna say the order. So from the.
I was gonna say. I thought he was gonna say just don't say anything.
No, yeah. I was gonna say just don't talk about the game. I cut out again. Yeah, it's like don't say anything. Like why? Like what's with all the negativity? That's the shit I don't understand.
No, but what Chris was saying is right. That the order is a good example of that.
Yeah, that's a perfect example. That's a perfect example. Go ahead, Riku.
Yeah, if you haven't played the order, just shut the fuck up.
There was this weird cascading rage where it's like, oh, the game is short. Oh, the game is short. It became Chinese telephone, but just bigger.
Okay. Here's that reversed side of things. The game Until Dawn. It's getting a lot of press right now. With the butterfly effect and all that other shit. They say it's an 8-hour game. Is anybody complaining about that?
Nope.
Nope. You know why they're not though? Because it has a lot of replayability. But then again, any game has a lot of replayability, but it's because of all the different endings and shit. That's why they're not saying that. But it is interesting that they're not complaining about that. The order has some of the same kind of gameplay. And Torrance, I remember you were talking about the order. You were like, hey, I'm glad this game's not fucking super long. I can actually finish this shit.
I can actually fucking finish it and get my trophies and check out. That's what I did, and I liked it too. I enjoyed that game.
Because you understood what they were going for.
Yeah. And it worked.
Why.
It actually worked. I had a little issue with the major boss battles and how those were.
Yeah.
But other than that, I thought it was a rock-solid game with great characters and a great little story. I didn't want to skip the cutscenes. I thought it was cool. It was like watching a movie.
I actually enjoyed the QuickTime events when you're fighting the werewolves in that game.
Yeah.
People look down upon QuickTime events all last generation. But the order, I thought the order did it pretty well. They kind of did it in a way in the God of War way where people look down upon QuickTime events because they feel for certain boss battles that's kind of a cop out. But the reason people don't give shit to God of War when it comes to quick time events. Or as far as I heard, people don't give shit. I haven't heard anyone give shit about quick time events in God of War. It's the reason because when you fight enemies in God of War, you have to beat their ass first, and then they give you the quick time event, as a reward to finish them off. Right. It's not, they didn't use quick time event through the entire thing, not throwing shots at the Wrath, the whole game's like that. But yeah, that's what God of War did, and I felt the Order did the same thing. So it was like, yeah, you don't just. I liked it in that, definitely.
Yeah, but I'm still complaining about the final boss fight because it was just a repeat of the same fight, from before. Like, come on, you're in Tesla's lab, man. Use the shit around you.
You know what's interesting? I had the feeling like the first fight in God of War 3, right? The Poseidon fight. How fucking epic was that? And then the rest of the fights later in the game, except when I was beating Hercules' face in, was kind of disappointing. And
really? You thought the Hades fight was that disappointing?
No. Like, they were kind of disappointing compared to the Poseidon fight. The start of the game was so freaking epic, right? That everything else kind of didn't feel like that.
I think that's opinionated. I thought that I probably liked the Hades and the Zeus fight more than the Poseidon fight.
Shit. Well, the Zeus fight was very satisfying. Also, beating his face in. I'm like, dude, Dad, you suck. And just punch him until the screen turns.
You don't need to stop. You can just keep doing it.
Yeah, I was like, oh, you can stop. Just like when you were sawing out.
Dude, I was bashing his face in for at least 3.5 minutes.
Yeah, you couldn't even see. There was just the button press on the screen was red. But I felt that in the Order, right? When you go into the hospital and you have that cinematic fight with the first werewolf you find, right? Yeah. That scene was so epic. I was like, please give me more of that. That's my only complaint in the game. It's like, why? I needed more of that because everything else felt kind of repetitive.
But they did give more of that. That's the problem.
No, I mean, like, you remember how, like...
Not quite like that.
No, remember the setup where he walks in the room and then he sees the guy change and then he's, like, walking back and there's,
Okay, I was talking about the actual mechanic.
Yeah. Not the actual battle, but the lead up to that battle.
Yeah. That they never did that again, right?
Yeah, that's true. Lafayette.
Lafayette.
And it was fantastic. I was like, holy shit, this is amazing.
Oh, man. All right, so let us move on. Torrence, did you like being interviewed?
I always like when people ask me questions about shit. Fun.
Yeah, man, I knew it. It's like the Torrence is going to be easy one. Just ask him something and let him go.
I also think it's, you have a really interesting story because it kind of ranges all the way from essentially close to the big, the big point of video games. Like, I mean, you're talking about Genesis games and Saturn games and stuff like that. That's, I mean, most of us have, we're just like, we just grew up with the magazines. You know what I mean? You're just like the EGMs and the game fans and stuff like that, game pros, stuff like that.
Yeah.
And just hearing about how, essentially you just had your own magazine and you just go from there.
Yep.
Yeah.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to scan the magazine in digitally. So people
dude.
It and read what we were writing about back in 1995.
But your experience is different because you were essentially there at the big bang of gaming. You were there at the beginning. You don't have the story like all of us is like, oh man, like growing up reading about E3. You were fucking there from the beginning.
Yep, from the start. I don't know how I managed all that shit. To be honest with you, like, how did I do all this?
I think also, I think a little bit to the extent is that it was a little bit easier in those days, Now it's like now everybody wants to go to E3.
Well,
you know what I mean?
It was easier, but there was a lot of work you had to do. I had to send E3 a manila envelope that thick to get everybody registered.
Oh shit!
And I said, I'm not doing it anymore. You guys got to register yourself. I'm sick and tired of this shit. Filling out all the paperwork to get everybody E3 passes. It was a pain in the ass. But yeah, it was easier because once you sent that manila envelope in, you're all set because you had all your proof there.
Yeah, and I also think he means easier in the fact that there weren't as many gaming journalists, especially online back then.
It's harder now because there's so many journalists, because everybody wants to go, and not everybody's officially working, for the press. They're just Johnny's Sega Saturn website wants to go fucking E3.
Yeah. By the way, fuck those websites for ruining it for the rest of us, man. Because remember there was that one year where they opened up to like every website, and all these motherfuckers made a website like 3 months beforehand, dived in, and now they like everybody like you have to like it's like the TSA basically. They screen the shit out of you now. It's fucking stupid. Yep. But yeah, that's how it is, man. But let us move on. Some new shit. This happened last week. I want to talk about it, but I kind of wanted to keep things a little bit light. But we got Torrence here. We got to talk shit. So let's get into it. So Torrence, did you hear about Troy Baker quitting Twitter over some bullshit he said?
I think so.
Yeah, so basically, and I'm going to read this too. So he made a joke, and it went like this. Bret Michaels, the singer of Poison, Bret Michaels looks like Mickey Rourke tried to become Caitlyn Jenner.
Yeah, I did see that.
Ooh, man, people went at his ass, and people love Troy Baker. People love this guy, but they forgot about him. They went crazy, and then he tweeted after that, it's a shame when there are people who would much rather choose to be offended than laugh. That made people even crazier. So he had a bunch of shit, and he ended up leaving. And I'm like, come on, man, you're gonna leave over that bullshit? Fuck those people. Say what you're gonna say, man. Block them. There's a block feature, But yeah, what's your take on that? Man? Yeah, exactly. So Torrence, what's your take on that?
I think if you're into Twitter and you really like it, and you say something that offends people, who gives a fuck? He should stand behind what he said and keep going. It's as simple as that. But these people do this whole thing, I'm going to leave Twitter because people are calling me names and they didn't like what I said and I can't deal with it, so I'm going to leave Twitter now and that'll solve all the problems. It's like, no, don't leave fucking Twitter. Stand your ground. I didn't leave Twitter when Jeff Keighley blocked me.
Excuse me?
I'm still here, right? It's like I say offensive shit all the time on Twitter and piss people off. I try to piss people off. But just if you actually believe what you say, then stand by it. Because quitting Twitter, I think it's a cop out. To be honest with you, I think he couldn't handle the pressure, so he quit.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of hesitant to say this because I like Troy Baker, but he was being a pussy. He's being a pussy. He really is. Like, come on, dude. It's just on your phone. It can't attack you, man. It's okay. But this goes back to the whole fucking culture of being, offended by everything. Now it's the same shit, and it doesn't matter if you're like, because I'm guessing, Troy Baker's left leaning. He's on their side in that case, but they don't give a fuck. They'll eat their own,
Yeah, it's like, I mean, to be honest, it's not really that offensive about what he said, but I mean, it's just because Bruce Jenner kind of has become the, or whatever, Caitlyn Jenner, he's kind of become the lightning rod for, transgender people. Now, if you say anything about him or her, now it's automatically horrible.
Why is that, though? Like, this is something that he could have done privately, but he chose to do very publicly, so people can't make public comments on their thoughts on them. I'm not saying that it's always going to be right, but it just seems like a weird thing that, like, that's my question every time somebody brings this up. It's like, well, like, this whole, like, thing was very highly publicized, right? Like, that's what you do when you put yourself out in the public.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. He could have just done it. Like, he could have just done it and just said, "All right, it's done." Like, that's it, and then not even do it. Like one of the Wachowski brothers. One guy got a sex change operation, didn't say a damn thing about it. Just all of a sudden they just stopped calling them the Wachowski brothers, and now it's the Wachowskis.
Actually, right. If you watch them closely, it was publicized.
It was.
It wasn't that, like, in other words, it's not as this. Yeah. It's not Bruce Jenner like publicized. Right.
Yeah, like, it's fine to make a mention of it. Like, it's fine to even be like, hey, I'm gonna go through this. Like, just the Bruce Jenner thing. Like, it seems very pandering for attention. Like, the entire process was, kind of bought and sold parcel to the tabloid magazines, and like, it's somebody's PR agent did a good job in making this work for their career, but at the same time, like, again, talking about a career in acting and being a celebrity, since that's a fucking career now, so, like, all of this was put out into the public forum willingly.
Yeah. Well, I agree, and I think that first, if any of us made that joke, nobody would care, but because Troy Baker made the joke, then everybody jumps down his throat. Technically, they didn't get the point of the joke. The butt of the joke is Bret Michaels. Right? Yeah. He didn't say anything about Jenner.
A bunch of Poison fans didn't go get all nuts.
Poison fans didn't get mad.
Unless you were mad that he made fun of Bret Michaels, you should shut up, because he didn't make fun of anyone else. It's just he's making a comparison.
He can't make jokes about transgender anymore.
Yeah, I want to say something right now, but I won't, because I know people get on my ass. But No.
I think
No.
I think the thing is we all have to establish is that people have to just understand that they're going to be made fun of no matter what. That's
I
it.
think that's
It
about
doesn't-
right.
The thing is that you have to be able to laugh at yourself, no matter what, no matter how serious things get. You have to. Sometimes you have to see the absurdity of the certain things in your own life. You can't just wear your your nerves on your sleeve or your heart on your sleeve like that and just expect not any to not be not be made fun of.
Grow a thicker skin. It's the fucking internet. They can't hurt you. It's just fucking type words. Seriously.
Exactly. It's like as a kid you hear from your mom, words will never harm me or something like that.
Yeah, but that's the age we live in now, man. Everything harms you. Everything
Well,
like oh yeah, I'm being violated online.
To be fair, like he might be getting death threats and other stuff. You don't know. Like to be fair, in that context, they do hurt because if you're getting a lot of "I'm gonna fucking find you and kill you," then you take it a little more seriously than somebody going,
I wish
"Oh, you're just an
somebody would.
asshole."
I wish somebody would say that to me, man. That would be fantastic.
Yeah,
I made it.
Yeah, words always have context. So if he's getting death threats or something else, just because he made a stupid joke, which is ridiculous, but he might have to take them seriously. You never know. Like, it's different. It's like you can just be like, it's the internet. Like, what does that mean? Well, if somebody does find him and kills him, then it is serious, right?
No,
so,
that's true.
It's like you can't you just say things on the internet anymore. It has more meaning. You heard a couple weeks ago, actually, some guys brought guns and ammo to the Pokemon event, right? They got arrested.
Yeah.
They might have shot that thing up, right? But they went on Facebook and bragged about it, and they got caught, right? But if we just said, it's just words, it's just some dumb kids on the internet, they might have shot the fucking convention up.
That's a good point. I didn't think about that,
Yeah, you need to take that shit seriously. Like that's the thing that we all need to not accept or abide. Violence or abuse. I think that's I think that's where Gamergate went wrong is you can't let that kind of thing shelter. You need to call it out on both sides. So yeah, I don't think anybody here is for internet abuse or death threats or anything like that. There's just a difference in the hypersensitivity between like there should be middle ground, like, hey, yeah, you can't tell people to go eat shit and die or that you're going to fucking kill them in their sleep. But at the same time, if you say you look like a pug dog, then nobody should be able to have any kind of legal recourse for that.
Yeah, it's like, come on, I'm sorry, but I'll stop.
I have a God-given right to say that Sarah Jessica Parker looks like a foot.
Yeah, that's fine, and it's true. She does look like a foot, like a horse, maybe. I don't know. I just want to say something about Bruce Jenner, but I won't because people. Anyway, let's move on to the next thing here. So I heard about this today, about Dos Equis, Deus Ex. I got that from Torrence, by the way, Dos Equis. I always call it that shit till this day. So they announced their pre-order things, and so basically they're going to have 5 tiers of pre-orders. I'm not making this up, by the way, and each tier is going to have 3 things you can choose, and if pre-orders hit a certain goal, you move on to the next tier, and you get 3 more choices, and it goes on and on until the 5th tier. You get the game 4 days beforehand. So we're getting to, and if you want all of this shit, you got to pay $150. So, yeah, this is like basically I just want to talk about how ridiculous pre-orders are getting now. Like these companies, like I'm just thinking, okay, they sit in a boardroom and they honestly think, oh yeah, people will like this. They'll be okay with this.
Well, you know why?
Why is that?
This is your typical stretch goal crowdfunding.
But for a pre-order
they're applying it to pre-orders, yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying it's a good idea. I'm saying what they did. It's not like they came around and arbitrarily decided like, oh, well, I think we could do this. What they're doing is they're like, okay, we're looking at dwindling sales numbers, so how can we get other people to get more people to basically, like, how do we blackmail people into getting their friends to pre-order the game as well? Well, we can give them more shit. I'm not sure that would fly. Actually, there's a method, a structure in place that crowdfunding uses that already could do this. And some fucking jackass CEO would, you know what? Do it. It's a stupid idea, but it's very clear where it grew out of, I think.
Yeah, it sounds like the levels of rewards with crowdfunding. Like as you fund it more, you get more levels and more tiers of things. When you said you get tiers of things, I was like, yeah, that sounds like crowdfunding.
That's exactly what they're trying to mimic it as. But think about it, it's like, okay, in the first tier, you decide which pre-order bonus you get. The next tier, you choose, but then it's like you're missing out on all the other shit,
Well, and a crowdfunding tier is supposed to be like they'll give you as much as they can. This is they'll give you as much as they feel like. Like it's not like they can't afford to do this. And most crowdfunding campaigns aren't exclusionary to the tier below it. In fact, most crowdfunding campaigns are everything in the previous tier plus.
Yeah.
Yeah, this isn't like that. By the time you invest, it's not investing. It's just if enough people pre-order, then it goes on to the next tier. But by the time you get to the final tier, the fifth one, you would have missed about 10 pre-order items.
It's like the fucking greedy business corrupted version of crowdfunding.
Yeah,
that's happening.
It's like so they took some horrible Frankenstein version and they're like, let's take the worst parts of pre-ordering and combine it with everything that's shitty about crowdfunding.
Yeah, basically. So it just seems like it's another way of fucking over gamers. It's like, really? So, we'll see. Tor, what's your thought on it, man?
Don't pre-order.
Yeah, I think we've established that. Like, stop pre-ordering, people, please.
Stop pre-ordering because it's bullshit. Here's the problem. Problem is they do this because they know there's people out there that will actually buy into it. So if there are people that didn't buy into this shit, they'd stop doing it. So there's really nothing we could do about it. There is some gamers out there that are going to spend that $150 for a $60 game to get some shit, some fucking boots or a helmet or a couple guns and some other stupid stuff or a little Cupid doll they could sit on their desk. It's just not worth it. We're talking about Deus Ex.
Barely play the game.
I can see if it was fucking Call of Duty. That's crack to people. Deus Ex isn't a crack game.
Yeah, it's not.
So I don't even understand what they're thinking when they thought up this shit. Like, we're talking about Deus Ex. Battlefront, I can see him doing that with Battlefront. Everybody wants Battlefront. That is going to be a crack game. So I can see him doing some shit like, pay this much and get yourself your own R2-D2 or whatever. I can see people doing that, but this is fucking Deus Ex. I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad series or anything, but goddamn, it's not crack. So who wants to pay
not Metal Gear?
What?
It's not Metal Gear.
Yeah, it's not Metal Gear. So I don't understand.
I understand. They just want,
Yeah.
It's all about that money. Rico, appreciate. Yeah, fuck pre-orders. Rico, you probably got some thoughts on this, don't you?
No, I basically agree with Torrence also, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to tell anybody what to do with their money. Because I wouldn't want them to tell me what to do with my money. But they definitely have to take into consideration that they are the issue here. So the ones that are buying into it, I shouldn't be hearing them being the ones complaining about pre-orders because you're buying into it.
That's
so
a
you're
good
a part
point.
of the problem. So if you're going to complain about it, or if you want something to change, you better not be one of those people, that Tuesday ready to get all of the pre-order stuff that you pre-ordered when they announced it. So, like I said, you can do what you want. Just don't be on both sides. Don't be the one pre-ordering, just to say, hey, look what I got, everybody, and then retweeting and getting all those likes.
Man, fuck pre-orders, man.
It's all about attention. Now, like Torrence said earlier, or I think it was one of you that said something about attention. It's all about attention. So some people just pre-order all of the stuff just to Instagram it. You get all likes. Look at all of the stuff I have. Did you play it yet? No. Only played. I got all it. I'm like, okay. So you bought all of the collector edition stuff, and it's like, I can understand if you're a collector, but if you say, you're gonna play, just fucking play it, and don't be the ones complaining about the pre-orders because you're the ones buying it in the first place. You're part of the issue. So that's my take on it.
By the way, before I forget, the other company that does the localizations, Xseed.
Xseed,
yeah.
Xseed is, they were always hooking us up, man. Back in the day on SDF Field Play,
Earth Defense Force 2 coming out.
Yeah.
Which is a slept-on series.
Yeah, super slept on. That's the PS4 version you were talking about, right?
Yep.
Yeah, they got a Vita one. Vita one coming out too.
This is the Vita version.
No, but they have a PS4 one coming out also.
They got a PS4 one coming out, and the first one I got was on the 360. Badass movies. I was like completely surprised.
Wasn't there 200 360? That and Armageddon?
Yep.
Yeah.
Excellent fucking game. You will have a blast with that.
By the way, yeah, I just thought about this now because since we got Rico here, Rico, I want to ask you something. Because you know how I don't know if you read the news, but basically there's going to be a lot more Japanese games being imported to the PS4 because PS4 is not selling well in Japan, right? But it's selling well here, so like, okay, let's just start importing shit. That's why you got J-Stars. They're like, fuck it, just put it out there. So what do you think about the fact that there's going to be more Japanese games coming to America? And they're not, you know, they're not going to be dubbed most of the time. There's going to be subtitled, whatever. But yeah, what do you think about all that?
I fucking love it. I remember when you guys were talking about that a couple episodes ago, and I completely agree with Chris said when you asked him. Keep them coming. Keep them coming. All of the weird ones, sure, bring them over. I might not touch them, but just bring all of them. If they've come to that conclusion that hey, people in the West, they're going crazy for the stuff and they'll play anything.
Yeah. What's fantastic is having options. I look at it as Golden Corral. I may not eat what's over here, but I may not go to the salad bar, but I'm gonna have me some pizza
Exactly.
and some wings. Just give it an option.
Every day I hear about a new weird Japanese game that had like 3 or maybe 2 PS3 games that didn't come out of Japan, but PS4 versions come over here in English subtitles. I hear that almost every day now, and I fucking love it. So yeah, bring it all. There's one certain game I'm waiting for.
What you waiting for?
It's called Gundam Extreme vs. Maxi Boost. And like, I think as far as licensing, that is pretty deep. But I think JSU's probably worse because you know that's dealing with a whole bunch of different different animes. While Gundam, at least all Gundam is within that stuff, even though they're licensing as far as like music in it and all that stuff, it's still kind of complicating. I still think JSU's is probably a lot more tough to get over here than that. So, in my opinion, if J-Stars can make it, Maxi Boost can make it. And I'm waiting for TGS because I know they're going to announce it because they already said Extreme Versus is going to be at TGS. So even if it doesn't come over here or if it doesn't get announced, I'm importing that bitch. If it does come, then great. That means everyone that it's not going to import it can, you know, play it when it gets localized also because that was probably my second. The Extreme Versus series is probably my second favorite game last generation. So.
Torrence doesn't even mess up.
I think that was the game I actually talked to Torrence about when I started on SDF and play. It was like I told him about Extreme Versus. He's like, oh, the Gundam thing. So you're into Japanese stuff, huh? You need a Japanese writer. I was like, yeah, let's do this. And that was Extreme Versus was my first review on SDF and play. So
nice.
Yeah, that's one game I want to get localized.
Yo, Rico, remember when they used to give you shit like, how you gonna be a Japanese writer? You don't play JRPGs, man.
Yeah. Never said I didn't hate him. I just didn't
have 80 hours.
Yeah, but now things are different, man. Getting into Tales and shit, man.
Yeah, I just found them Tales like a week ago.
My man.
Hours. Yeah, 150
you know what?
hours in that bitch.
Platinuming a JRPG, that's no small feat, man. So,
no, but I'm gonna do it again in October when Stadia comes out.
Yes, Riku, man. Oh man. By the way, Torrence, you'll like this story. So this is how I knew this shit was real. So we put up a review on it on fucking Coalition. It was Hatful Boyfriend. It's a dating sim where you date pigeons. I'm not making this up. And I'm like, this has got to be a fucking iPad game, right? No, PS4. I'm like, okay, I guess it's real now. This shit. He's getting the weirdest fucking titles now.
Unbelievable. Well, it's selling well. I mean, it's selling like hotcakes.
Didn't Goat Simulator sell like hotcakes also?
Yeah, well, Goat Simulator is funny as shit.
What the hell is Goat Simulator about?
You run around fucking with people as a goat. You fucking blast them with your horns. You jump on roofs. It has really crazy physics. I'm sure Brett has it. Goat Simulator, Brett?
I do not. No.
Oh, you don't?
Rachel will not play Goat Simulator and will not allow it in the house. Brian has threatened it many times.
Man, I love it. It's just really funny because you just run around and you fuck with other human beings and cars and stuff. And they got it for Xbox One, PlayStation 4, PC on Steam. And they're working on an update for it where you're isn't there one coming out where you're a zombie goat or something like that?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Oh, people want them to make it an MMO. Fans,
What the fuck?
Wow.
they want, and I guess they're considering doing it because it's in high demand. Everybody that loves the game is like, make it an MMO because they want to run around with other goats and do shit. It's crazy.
Imagine a whole world full of goats. That's fucking nuts, man. But hey,
as it came out because it was cracking me up.
oh man! All right, so let's get on with the final thing here before we get to the main, the main prize giveaway, Metal Gear. So we're gonna give you guys our quick thoughts on it. But before we do that, Riku actually brought something to our attention, which is interesting. So Riku, what's going on? What did you bring to us?
Oh, okay. So you mean the Twitter video thing?
Yeah, tell the people what's going on.
So basically, when was that? When did this all go down? A couple hours ago. So like 9 or 10 hours, 11 hours ago. Kojima retweets a fan-made Metal Gear Solid 5 picture. Konami's like, nah, none of that shit, and they just copyright infringed it and took it down. So it's just like, wow.
Yeah, I mean, has anyone seen the picture?
I haven't seen the picture. I'm sure someone knows what the picture is, but
that's illegal.
Go ahead.
That's illegal for them to do that. You cannot copyright infringe on fan-made art.
Yeah, fan-made.
You can. They can actually do certain things. So they can't claim a copyright on the actual art, but they could be claiming, misuse or something like that. The one thing to know about doing a lot of fan art is you do run the risk of, getting some, the companies could say something about the work and actually maybe bring you to court for something. The only reason why they don't say anything a lot of the time is it's free promotion. So whatever it was, might have been something that they didn't want, some way they didn't want their characters portrayed.
Yeah, I do. That does bring up a good point, because I do remember there was a guy, read an article about it about a month and a half ago. He was, the character in One Piece called Boa Hancock. She's she's like Luffy's groupie. She has big tits and all this stuff. Mm-hmm. And someone was creating figurines of her, making her tits even bigger, and I think she was naked. So he had these figurines and he was selling them like hotcakes, and he went to prison for that.
Oh wow!
Get the fuck out of here!
Because he was number one, he's creating a product and making the money off of it.
Oh yeah, that's right. He's making money off of it.
The thing is that you when you do that sort of thing, those sorts of things, usually the best way to do it and not to mass produce is you have to specifically say you're not going to be mass producing it, and even then they have the right to say something, to take you to court for something. So what you walk that fine line. I mean, I've said this before. I've gotten a long time ago. I got a cease and desist letter from Epic Games for making a piece of fan art. Like my cousin, I made this little figure called it was called the Money. It's a little custom figure that you can make, and you can literally paint it and do everything you want to it. And I didn't have a lot of money, so I was like, all right, I'm gonna make something for my cousin for Christmas, because it's I don't have a lot of money, and I think this would be a lot better than just going to some store and buying some figure. So that's what I did, and I posted all the pictures online, and when people liked it and all that other stuff. But then eventually I got a cease and desist letter from Epic Games.
Yeah, for Gears of War, that's what you were doing.
For Gears of War, it was a Marcus Phoenix figure, and they thought I was going to start mass producing it and all this other shit, and I was like, dude, guys, there's only one. The only reason why I did everything is because I don't leave anything half-assed. I don't just make one part of it and not, do up the box and make it look as official as possible. So, yeah. So you guys, out there, guys out there.
So basically, you would say that you were basically in the same realms as the people that create Gunpla.
What's that?
Gunpla.
Gunpla. When people create their own little Gundam and then they just showcase it, and they go on little contests and whatnot.
Mm-hmm. But basically, the thing is about it is that what I did was I we sent the cease and desist letter over to Kotaku, and then they started reporting about it.
Oh yeah, I saw.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, that's a smart move right there.
Well, because at the same time, it's like, who is I gonna go to? I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I was trying not to get too involved with this stuff because, again, at the time I was working in animation. I didn't want to get lose my job because of some stupid bullshit, because I made some fan art. The thing is, officially, I was in the right. I'm not going to produce these things. I'm just making one, and I just wanted to show everybody. And I even got contacted multiple times by people who were just doing stuff in their own house. One guy said, "Oh yeah, I'm painting this Gears of War mural on my ceiling," and they're sending me a cease and desist letter. Another guy is like, "Hey, dude, I don't even know how to deal with this. I'm making one of those chainsaw guns. I really want to make one, and they're telling me to stop." So
that's lawyers have nothing better to do, man.
Well, because I think also at the same time, the Gears of War franchise was like the biggest thing that Epic Games had. I mean, Unreal did good. Gears of War did insane, and I think they didn't have the proper infrastructure to allow for for certain types of fan art. Eventually, after all this bullshit happened with me, I got a letter from the guys at Epic saying, "Oh, we're really sorry about all this stuff," because they don't want to look like a bunch of assholes in front of the fans. See, so
yeah. Yeah. Go ahead, Ben.
The game Ready to Rumble.
Yeah, Ready to Rumble. Yeah.
It was after who's the boxing dude that used to say Ready to Rumble?
To Michael Buffer.
Michael Buffer's lawyer sent me a cease and desist letter.
He did.
We had a Ready to Rumble review on the site.
Wow.
No, actually, no, I'm sorry. It's not because I had a Ready to Rumble review. It's because I used Ready to Rumble in a review I was writing. And what they were doing is they were going out to all the websites, scanning for that phrase, and then sending cease and desist letters.
Yeah, because Michael Buffer owns the rights to that phrase.
So I ripped it up, and that was that.
It's insane. I'm thinking about the guy, the fucking One Piece guy. Imagine like getting raped in jail because you're making some fucking figurines, man.
That's the thing. It's like he was doing something that, number one, at the same time, that's probably not the way the company wanted to portray their characters. Regardless, if she has
that was the main reason right there.
Regardless of the fact that she has really big boobs or whatever, the thing is that they probably didn't want to do that. So then there's that, and then plus he was mass producing them. If you're ever going to do anything sort of fan art related, you have to do limited runs, stuff like that. That's why they don't theoretically, Marvel, DC, Disney, every single one of those guys could go into a comic convention and send every single person in there a cease and desist letter because they're selling all this work, based off of their characters. The only reason why they don't do it is, number one, is because it's free advertisement, and it's a drop in the hat compared to the shit that they sell out there. You know what I mean?
And they don't want to look like assholes.
Some people don't give. I'm sure Disney doesn't give a shit about looking like assholes because they sent a cease and desist letter to a friggin' a kindergarten back in the '90s.
Oh, geez.
For having Disney artwork on the front. So that ain't gonna stop though.
Yeah, that's true. Oh man, imagine Disney coming after you because you drew some Wolverine fan art.
That's in the 90s. Now with the internet, if they sent a cease and desist letter to kindergarten, what did we just talk about? The internet would explode, right? Because
Yeah.
bad PR, so they don't want that anymore.
Exactly.
So I suspect this artwork may be something that they found maybe somewhat offensive.
Oh, okay. I found the article. When was this?
Let's see if we can see that. It's not quite
ago.
sucking Snake's dick or something, is it?
Oh, no. I was talking about the Nami thing.
Yeah.
I mean the One Piece guy. It wasn't It was Nami. He was doing it up.
Yeah. No, go ahead.
It was Nami he was doing it with, but it wasn't mass produced. He only made 3 of them, but at the end of the day, they still put him away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's probably the way they didn't want their character portrayed. So they have.
Was that here? He's in jail here or in Japan?
I think this happened in. Japan. Japan copyright act. Yeah, it happened in Japan.
And Japan, here's the thing about Japan stuff is that they're very laxed about that sort of thing too.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, with the fanzines that they make, have you seen some of those fanzines they make over there? They're pretty friggin' raunchy. You know,
fucking hentai.
And they have like real real characters in there. You know, like licensed characters.
Yeah, he was selling them for about 500 a pop.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now he's getting fucked in jail because of that. It's hilarious.
Well, who knows if in Japan if it's the same way as it is in the United States?
Yeah, no, it's a squid, right, or something. An octopus fucks you, it rapes you.
So they just have an octopus in there to rape you, huh?
Yeah. All right, so let's give you guys our quick thoughts on Metal Gear, which we have been playing. I've been playing too much of it, maybe.
How many? Do they record how much playtime you have in it?
Oh yeah, like
Yeah.
I'm closing in on 50 hours, and I'm barely touching the story. There's just so much shit, man. It's super open world game. Now I've gotten to a point where it doesn't bother me as much because it did bother me. Because I'm like, yo, this huge open world game, man. I'm just running around. Like it takes forever to get anywhere. But I'm finding some shortcuts and stuff, so I don't have a problem with it. But yeah, it's like you could do so much shit in this game. It just keeps opening up and up. I'm like, I could do that, I could do this, I could do this. This is crazy, you know. And those little Kojima-isms, like, yeah, you can have the horse shit on the road, and the cars will slip up and stuff. You can even put yourself under the horse if you want, so you can take a shit on you. You know.
You can also like, you know, I was telling Tony this before. I was like, he was complaining because everything takes something called GMP, which is your mother base's currency, right? You know, every time you fly a copter somewhere, every time you extract somebody, that takes money, in the game money. What you can do is to kind of save on money is eventually you get the ability to to Fulton out or extract vehicles. So what you do is, instead of having to pay to have the helicopter pick you up, you know, to go back home, what you could do is just get into, you know, put one of those things on the car and then jump in the car and then extract yourself out that way.
Oh, nice.
Torrence, I like how you got all close.
I gotta start playing this game, man.
Yeah, Torrence, man, you'll have
fun. The game's pretty generous with GMP. I mean, I find diamonds and stuff all over the place as I'm running around.
I wish it was generous with fuel resources. I never have enough to build my fucking base, you know. But I did go into the red with GMP, and then guys started fighting on the base and stuff. Like, damn.
No food.
But I love the fact that you can go on the base, and to raise morale, you beat the shit out of your soldiers. You're like, thank you, boss.
It's an honor to be beat up by Big Boss.
Yeah, but I think this is like my 4th time talking about Metal Gear on a podcast. I've done everybody's podcast talking about this fucking game. You guys heard me say enough. Manny, Chris, what are your thoughts?
It's a great game. I mean, I think it's well worth the long wait that it was. I mean, when did they start talking about this? 2011, something like that.
About the engine.
Yeah, they're talking about the engine back then.
Yeah.
Now it's just then. I mean, the first few years are just spent on developing this engine that they created. You know.
Yeah.
So I mean,
man.
It's been a long wait. I mean, especially if you look at when the last, you know, like mainstay Metal Gear game came out. I mean, friggin', you know.
2008.
Yeah, 2008. Metal Gear Solid 4. I mean, if you want to count Peace Walker, what was that? 2009.
Yeah, 2009. Yeah, no, 2011 or so around.
Yeah, 2011 or something, and that's when they started talking about the Fox engine.
Yeah.
So I mean, you know, it's a really well done game, and it's interesting to see how Kojima kind of reinvented the genre a little bit again, because like each Metal Gear game is not the same as the last. It has some of the same aspects, but like, you know, Peace Walker had all that base management stuff and the kind of short missions stuff, which is kind of like the way this game works. You know, the Metal Gear Solid 4 was like they got more modern gun controls where you didn't have to, you know, hold 200 different buttons in order to actually shoot somebody or beat the shit out of somebody. So I mean, this is all the culmination of every single game that he's done in the past, kind of combined into this ultimate, you know, awesome sauce. So you know, I enjoy it a lot. I mean, haven't had that much time to do it, but I mean, I don't feel bad about it because I think the way the mission structure in the game is, it's nice. It gives you a little, a little bit of like, okay, you finish a mission, maybe an hour, an hour long or 2 hours long, and then you're good, and then you can maybe dick around in the open world, get some resources, get some soldiers, stuff like that.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, I should say this, and I was wrong about something. I said this before. I'm like, I don't think this game's gonna be. I thought it was like it's gonna be quote unquote open world. It's just gonna have some big areas. No, this is fucking huge ass open world. 2 big maps so far for me. It's like, yeah, it's pretty big, man. It's fucking nuts. And I like the buddy system. I thought that's cool. Like what I do is like for me, I send Quiet into a place like, all right, scout the shit out. All right, snipe these motherfuckers, and then I just go in and clean up afterwards. It's great. But you have to earn all that. You don't just get it off the bat. At the beginning, you just get a horse that shits.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't even do that in the beginning.
Yeah. I just finished the mission, and I earned the ability to poop. I was like, wow, they really make you work for everything, even being able to take a shit.
Yeah. The dog is awesome too, man. Like he finds everything, man. Fucking Dee.
Everybody says likes a dog because it literally can mark every single person on the map when it gets you get you start working together a little more.
But yeah, obviously we're gonna have like a big in-depth thing of the game probably at the end of the month or something. But we just want to give you a quick thought. It's the shit, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, man. Torrence, I know you're gonna love it too, man.
I think also in quite a bit of ways, it's granted, it is helpful that you learn about all the other games, but within the game itself, it actually gives you a pretty good crash course. If you listen to any of the logs that you get, so you can kind of be like, okay, you listen to a couple of the logs and be like, oh, okay, this is what happened before, but it only gives you a light version of.
Yeah, you're gonna miss a lot of context, but like if you want to go in the run and gun, you could do that. Game won't penalize you. Hell, you could even buy armor that makes you more durable if you want. You could play the whole game like that if you want. So that's pretty fun. Because I know me, man. I go in, I try to be sneaky, then I fuck up.
Yeah, I've done that plenty of times. I had a mission where I was like sneaking around, and this guy saw me, so I ran under a bed. And what happened? That motherfucker came in, and it went reflex. Like, I'm like, oh shit, and he sees me under the bed. I can't shoot it because I can't shoot. So I'm like, fuck it. I get out, I dive out from under the bed, shoot him, shoot his friends. I'm like, oh fuck it, I'm screwed now, and just go gunning my way out of the base. But I get so pissed off, like, damn it, I was doing so well, and just to murder everybody on the way out.
I do like how the enemies learn from you. Like, I go in there and I'm shooting everybody in the head, right? And then when I come back to that same area, they all got helmets on. Or then I'm like, okay, let me just go in at night. So then if I do that too often, they got like the thermal goggles on and shit. If I keep shooting them in the chest, they got chest armor. So it's pretty crazy how they adapt to you.
Yeah, you have to kind of vary your techniques because again, there's. In the old games, the tranquilizer dart gun kind of broke the game. Yeah. If you think about it, if you just put everybody to sleep. So in this way, it kind of unbreaks it because it's like, well, you can't always use a tranquilizer dart, or you can't always hit them for headshots, even though it gives you more points. You have to kind of vary it.
Well, yeah, I like that the game started fucking epic. That's when I texted you that, like, why is he always fighting the X-Men?
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if it's spoilers if I talk about like that first.
Well, it just talk about what was in the VGAs thing. Because remember, half of it is there, but don't say too much. But yeah, I know what you're talking about. It's like, what the fuck? What is real? What isn't real? What the hell's going on? Why is that whale on fire? What is that fiery unicorn? What is this shit?
Yeah, a fire unicorn, a fire horse, and a dude on fire. I'm like, this guy just woke up from a fucking coma, man. Give him a break. Can he get a glass of water? No, go survive. I don't know. I like it. I thought when you get to that first part, where Ocelot rides you, and that was in the trailers, where he rides you into Afghanistan for the first time. He shows everything. I actually thought that looked better than the damn trailer. I was like, wow, it really looks good.
Yeah, there's also really interesting to seeing the actual things that they've changed since all the other stuff. Like, in other words, now Ocelot now is wearing those stupid glasses now, and they actually adjusted the lighting and stuff like that to make it look even cooler.
Yeah,
lots of little things, man. It's fucking great game.
I noticed they simplified the radio though. Like, it's just instant communication. There's no you know, going into a radio menu or anything. It's just seamless.
You don't want to deal with that. So even though they have some technology that doesn't make sense, like the iPod, the iDroid, it's like we can't even do that shit in real life now. How do you do it in 1984?
How do you know that Snake didn't invent it?
Yeah.
He invented it.
It's kind of funny because you think about the tech in Metal Gear Solid, like Soliton radar, but his iDroid is kind of better than that.
Yeah, it is.
See, that's why they said currently existing technology.
But he's in the 80s. That shit, you know, Metal Gear Solid is like way
That's
past
not currently existing technology. See,
that.
that's the point.
All right, so let's get right into it.
Also, let me get. Hold on for a second. I need you to vamp for a bit.
Yeah, we brought something back for you people. Back on Throw Down Your Questions, we used to actually have like the questions pop up on screen, but we started getting so many fucking questions. We kind of just like, okay, we're just gonna cut the middleman, cut that bullshit out. But we brought that back for this, so we're gonna have a Metal Gear contest where we will give you PS4 code. The reason I got that is because I'm not patient. I knew I was gonna get a review code, but when that Friday hit and the shit was out in the streets, I'm like, oh, I'm buying this fucking game now, man. I had the urgency of a dude about to get pussy getting this fucking game. I'm like, dude, I'm getting this fucking game, man. You know, it made me feel like old school, too, just rushing to get a game and shit. 'Cause I don't do that anymore. I usually just get games sent to me and shit, so that was fun. So, yeah, I got the review code, so I'm like, hey, why not give it to you guys? So if you want to win this, make sure you subscribe to this fucking channel first and answer these 5 questions, and we're going to leave them up on in the post, and you guys answer. We're going to give you a couple of days, and we'll pick a winner on Throwdown Your Questions. So with that, let's get into it. So we got 5 questions for 5 Metal Gear games. The first question is, name one way to escape the jail in Metal Gear Solid. Next question. All right. Question number 2. In the original version of Metal Gear Solid 2, this is the first one that was printed. How can you see Ocelot before the cinema where he steals Metal Gear Ray? Remember, you see him when he's introduced, you know, with the whole Metal Gear Ray thing. You can actually see him beforehand. So how can you actually see him before that?
Yes.
Next.
There's a thing. This does not exist in the HD collection. It's only in the other, you know, Metal Gear Solid 2 and Metal Gear Substance.
Yeah. Next question. All right. Question number 3. How do you get the legendary snake Tsuchinoku in Metal Gear Solid 3? This is an actual animal, by the way.
Yes. Well, what it is it's a legendary animal in Japan.
Yes.
So it also does something specific too.
All right. So how do you get that thing in Metal Gear Solid 3? Next. This is cool. I like how he just flips. All right. Question 4. What's the quickest way to beat Vamp in Metal Gear Solid 4? That's a pretty straightforward question right there.
Yeah.
And the last one for Peace Walker. Waiting for Manny to change it. There we go. Question 3. I like that. Okay, how do you get to Isla de Monstruo in Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker? Pretty easy, but there you go. We got to give you a couple gimmies in there.
Yep.
So answer all those. We'll pick up winner at random, and you'll get a free game download code. All that. And the runner-up will get all the Manny shit. You know,
yep.
the comics and stuff.
You will get a copy of. Let me pick her up here. You get a signed copy of Batman Beyond 2.0, which I worked on, and you will get the 3rd issue of We Are Robin.
Nice. And this is for this episode. For Throw Down Your Questions, we will have Chris give you something. Chris, what do you got to give away for that episode?
Here you go.
I got an extra closed beta code for Rainbow Six Siege.
Yes.
Something like that? Yeah, you'll get my closed beta code.
Yeah, because I just thought because I was originally we were gonna give both codes, so it's like, no, spread the shit out, man. You know?
because theoretically, both the Throwdown and Throwdown Your Questions are on the 50th episode.
It's not theoretically; it's true. It's actually happening. All right, so there you go. And the questions will be posted there after the show, obviously. So you got 3 days to look all this shit up on the internet. Oh man. All right, start wrapping this up. Torrence, man, once again, thank you for being on, man. Always fun having you on. You actually made time, because I know you always want to be on, but you're always busy and shit, you know?
Busy doing things, fishing, about secret projects, hustling.
I think Tony froze.
Oh yeah, I mega froze. I'm assuming Torrence said something really awesome and poetic. Yeah. You know, for those who don't know, where can they find you, man? Plug your shit.
VGWarzone.com every Friday at 10 o'clock. The live podcast. Foodie Trotter will be updated by the time I get back. I am going to the Rip offense in Reno, Nevada. That's one of the reasons why. So I'm posting that, and a lot of people have asked me about the site, so that will be updated. I got all these things I've been doing, but I just haven't posted them on the site yet. So check out foodietrotter.com. And that's it for now.
Oh.
But I'm working on some projects, some stuff.
Nice.
Could it be the reason why you are in LA currently?
I'm actually in Tracy, way northern California, up near Sacramento and Stockton. Yeah, I'm at my aunt's house, just chilling, vacating.
That's awesome, man. By the way, I kind of don't like going to your foodie chart thing because it makes me too hungry. It's like, Daker, you take really good pictures. Like, shit. Like, even shit I wouldn't eat, I'm like, man, that shit looks good.
He'd be on that Shokugeki no Soma food. Showing off some crazy shit.
Go on Instagram then.
Yeah, right. Oh, man, yeah, Torrence, man, always with them awesome pictures.
And they captured I made. Oh, it was so good.
Oh man. Hey, Riku, just real quick, because we got you here. And by the way, for you guys who don't know, Riku's son was actually one of the main guys that started Throwdown back in the day. But he's OG.
Yeah. So
what games are you looking forward to in the fall, man?
Me, the fall? Only game I'm looking forward to is Tales of Zestiria.
Damn.
Well, that and Battlefront. Other than those two, I think those two should suffice me for the rest of this year.
Shit, and I don't feel bad because the only two games I'm looking forward to, I'm already playing one, like in Metal Gear, and the other one is probably Fallout. See what says Zeria, I want to get it, but I want to finish up the Zillia games first before I get to that, you know? Yeah, this fall is kind of barren. Torrence, what are you looking forward to this fall?
I already got Metal Gear Solid 5, Battlefront, and Just Cause.
Oh, shit. Yeah, Just Cause 3 is going to be big, man. All right, so let's wrap this shit up. Thank you for watching and listening. Be sure to follow the Coalition at thecoalition.com, subscribe to Throwdown, SoundCloud, iTunes, and YouTube. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter at Throwdown Show and on Facebook. Links are available in the description below. Once again, our show is Tony Polanco, and tonight I was joined by Emilio Lopez.
Later, guys.
Little Kip Hand. Brett Murdoch.
Deuces, everybody.
Chris Seeley.
Take care, everyone.
Riku-san one, the only one.
Shaboy. Peace out.
And Mr. Torrence Davis.
Peace out. Same bad time, same bad channel.
That's right, people. Batman, motherfucker.